Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you this minimal makeup look that is appropriate for everyday wear and for any occasion. I like to use this look because I just think it is, like I said, any situation or any occasion appropriate. You could wear it out for dinner for a more fancy event, but you could also wear it to the gym when you are going for that easy breezy look. It is very quick to do. It is minimal amount of products. And I just wanted to showcase my favorite sort of everyday look. So if you want to see my favorite minimal makeup look, just keep watching. So there's a few different ways you can approach a minimal makeup look. I'm going to kind of go over, I'm going to go over the look that I am using on basically an everyday basis. This is something that I will wear to the gym a lot of the time, or I will just wear it for work. And this is just a look that I really love to throw together because I feel put together enough to work from home, but I can also go out and run errands, or I can grocery shop on my lunch break, or I can go out and do things and I still feel confident in this makeup. And again, this is something that I wear to the gym a lot of the time too. So there are a few different ways you can approach this sort of minimal makeup look. And I'm going to go over a few different things, but I'm of course going to show you my favorite products that I'm using. So I'm going to start with the skin. I think the skin is the most important thing when you are doing a minimal makeup look. I think when you're doing minimal makeup look, you want to kind of go about what are the most important things for you. For me, I want my skin to look a little bit more perfected. I just want to feel a little bit more confident. So some things that I recommend for the skin, I would just skip a primer, honestly, because I don't think it's a necessity and I am going in with minimal product. So something that I love to use on a daily basis that is extremely sheer coverage. This is the Chanel Le Beige Water Fresh Tint. I wear the shade medium or medium plus. This one is medium plus, and for this look in particular, I like to go with a little bit of a deeper shade. So I'm going with medium plus today because it's just a little bit deeper than my skin tone. Some other products that I recommend for a minimal makeup look are also those sheer type of products. So they're going to give you a sheer to light coverage. They're basically going to make your skin look a little bit better than it already does. It might add some perfecting, a little bit of coverage, but it's not anything full coverage. So another favorite product of mine is this Sisley Teint Nude. I absolutely love this. It has a great blurring effect. It's a very sheer buildable to light coverage as well. Really great for just adding that soft focus effect to the skin if you want that blurred complexion look with a little amount of coverage. This is absolutely fantastic. It will just slightly perfect the skin. And then if you are someone that maybe wants just a little bit more coverage, maybe you have a little bit more discoloration or redness to your skin, a great option is the Chanel Le Beige Water Fresh Complexion Touch. Mine is in the shade B30, so this is basically the exact same product as the Water Fresh tint here, except it just has less water than this product here, which makes it have a little bit more coverage, but it's still that great water-based product, which I really enjoy because a water-based product has a tendency to almost kind of like dry down on the skin. It doesn't get oily throughout the day. It just kind of sets down on the skin and you don't necessarily need a powder. So this is great. These are great products to use in like the humidity or when it is really hot outside because it's not going to melt or anything off your skin. So this is great if you're looking for something with a more buildable to medium coverage, but it still looks like skin. I would also recommend the Peau the foundation. This is absolutely beautiful. This is a little bit more hydrating than the Chanel Water Fresh Tint or the Sisley Teint Nude. Has a little bit more of a hydration factor to it. I would consider this actually like a tinted moisturizer. Like it feels like a moisturizer you'd apply to your skin to hydrate it, but it has a tint to it. This is a great light coverage product as well. But if you're someone that likes to get use out of products and maybe you only have a full coverage foundation, or maybe you are someone that just requires a little bit more coverage, a great option is to actually go in with a full coverage foundation, but you can just use such a minimal amount of product to get that sheer coverage. So I would suggest a product like the Peau Radiant Cream Foundation or the Peau Radiant Cushion Foundation Dewy. Both of these would be great options because these actually have a great effect on the skin where they still retain that more skin-like appearance even though they have a fuller coverage. So you could just go in with literally like a pea-sized amount of product like that and just really work it into the skin, really blend it in and smooth out those edges, really work it into the skin with a brush, and that would give you a sheer amount of coverage as well, and it would look very skin-like on the skin. by just going in with that small amount of product. So there are just ways you can utilize your foundations without having to actually buy a new foundation if you are someone that maybe only has a full coverage foundation in your makeup wardrobe. So there's just a few options I wanted to talk about, and I did want to make it clear you don't need to be going out and buying every foundation that's released. You can kind of manipulate the foundations that you already have to get a variety of different looks from them. So I did want to mention that. And then I'm going to start out with a little bit of a primer. This is the Saie Glowy Super Gel in the shade Starglow. So I'm almost using this as a primer, but I'm going to use it as well as a highlighter. I'm actually not going to go in with an additional highlighter at the end of my makeup. So this is going to act as both a primer and a little bit of a glow so that it will peek through my foundation. And it will actually look a lot more natural because I'm going to be putting foundation over this. So it's just going to be kind of that glow from within highlight. So I'm going to apply it to the tops of my cheekbones, a little bit down the nose, because this is a really beautiful gel consistency. I really, really enjoy this. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then I like to apply it to the tops of my brows and just blending it into the skin. This has a really nice dry down to it as well, because it is that gel texture and it has a very soft sheen to it. There are no glitter particles or anything like that. It's a very, very subtle, natural glow. And from here, then I'm going to go into the foundation. And again, you can use any of the products that I mentioned or obviously something that you have on hand. I'm going to take the Chanel Water Fresh Tint in the shade Medium Plus. For this technique, I do like to go in with something that's a little bit deeper than my skin tone. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to take 2 pumps of this and I'm going to blend it onto the skin. And I do like to go a little bit deeper on the skin because I'm not going to go in with a bronzer. And I just choose not to go in with a bronzer because, again, it's going to save me time. It's going to look a little bit more natural, but I'm still going to get a little bit of color from this Chanel Water Fresh Tint. Because this is so sheer, it's not going to look like it is too deep for my skin tone though. It actually blends in perfectly with my chest, which will mean that I don't even need to go in with a bronzer anyways. And I just love this product. It feels so good going onto the skin, but it does add a little bit of perfecting properties to my skin. Not so much where it adds a ton of coverage, like I said. It just blurs the skin and adds a slight more soft focus appearance. So if you have any texture on your skin, this does a great job of just smoothing over that texture. I think because it is water-based as well, it smooths over texture really beautifully. It doesn't sit into pores or anything like that. So I love this product. So I absolutely love how that looks on the skin. It blends right in. It does not look makeup-y at all. You can still see like a little spot here and you can still see my freckles peeking through, but it does reduce a little bit of the redness and it makes you just look a little bit more put together. So I absolutely love this product. I am going to go in with a concealer, and the concealer that I'm going to use, you could use a very light coverage concealer that will just reduce a little bit of the darkness under your eyes. But I am someone, I would say like my main concern is my under eye circles. They're like the thing I have the biggest issue with, I guess you could say. So for me, I'm going to go in with a more medium coverage concealer just because that is like an insecurity of mine that I do like to cover up a little bit more. For you, it might be your skin. Maybe you have more discoloration on your skin, so you might want to go in with a more medium coverage foundation and then use a sheer concealer under your eyes. It's obviously personal preference. So I'm going to take this Givenchy. This is the Prisme Libre Skin Caring Concealer Multi-Purpose Corrector in the shade N250. And I'm just going to take that under my eyes, right here, where I am darkest. So I'm not bringing it all the way up to the lash line because you have little fine lines there, and then the concealer will sit in those fine lines and it just won't look as flattering. So I like to make sure that I am just applying it where I am dark. And then I also like to bring it on this outer corner here. You can see I'm creating this kind of uplifted effect in this little shape. I'm dragging it kind of towards my temple, and that will create a little bit of a lifted effect so that your eyes look more awake and lifted versus if you put the concealer straight across. You just won't get that same lifted effect that's quite youthful. And then I am going in with just a Beauty Blender sponge. I just prefer to blend out my concealer with a sponge. Of course, you could use a brush if that's what you prefer. And I really enjoy this concealer because it blends out with ease. It gives a great amount of coverage, a good amount of coverage, but it's not super full coverage or anything like that. But it's enough coverage, and it does have quite a beautiful skin-like quality to it. It's not too luminous, it's not too matte. It is perfect, and I am someone with dry under eyes, so finding a concealer that works for me is very challenging, I would say. But I really adore this one. And this one is a concealer you can also use on your face. So if you are someone that has any sort of acne, or you have discoloration or melasma or anything, you could use this concealer on the face as well because it performs just as well on the under eyes as it does on the face. If you do need quite a bit of coverage on your face though, if you do have a large amount of acne or melasma, I do recommend the Clé de Peau, the concealer, because it does have a very skin-like quality to it, even though it is a full coverage concealer. This is the most skin-like full coverage concealer that I have found, and it is a concealer that will last all throughout the day, so you're not going to have to worry about this concealer separating or fading away. Once you set it down, it doesn't move, so this is great if you are someone that requires that fuller coverage. And then you can utilize those more sheer coverage foundations and then going in and spot concealing in any areas where you just require a little bit more coverage. From here, I'm going to move on to brows. Now, I am someone that has my brows, they're not microbladed, I have them, it's called powder ombre brows, I think that's what it's called. So it's kind of like microblading, but I just prefer what they do with the powder brows. But I'm just going to take this Kosas, this is the tinted brow gel in the shade medium chocolate brown. And I would just, of course, if you're someone that requires a little bit more filling in, you might want to go in with a pencil. But I just like this because it tints my brows a little bit and gives me a little bit more definition. I really like this tinted brow gel as well because it doesn't add anything heavy. Sometimes with brow gels, you can really detect them in the brows, but this one you can't. It's just a very natural tinted brow product, which I really enjoy. I'm going to go ahead and actually skip bronzer because for a minimal makeup look, I obviously want to use the minimal amount of products I can to get a really put together look. And not using a bronzer is just going to make sure that I can get ready faster and it's going to look a little bit more natural. So I'm going to move right ahead to cream blush. I want to share some of my favorite products. If you're looking for something that's really heat proof and that is going to have great longevity, especially in the humid months, I recommend the Chanel Les Beiges Water Fresh Blush. I love the shade Intense Coral. This is great because it sets down, won't move at all, and won't fade. I also really love this Lys Beauty Higher Standards Satin Matte Cream Blush in the shade Humble. This is absolutely beautiful. This does kind of set down on the skin, and it is incredibly long lasting, but it's very easy to blend. You have enough time to work with this product before it sets down on the skin, and this just is beautiful, beautiful on the skin, very skin-like. And then a new favorite is this Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veil. This is just a cream blush in the shade Pinch Me Pink, which I think is absolutely beautiful. It's like this pale pink shade, but it looks really beautiful on the complexion. Now, this is something that has more of a dewy finish, so I don't think it will work great in like very hot, humid weather. But on me, it's fine. I do have drier skin, but I really, really like this. So I'm going to use this Makeup by Mario one today, and I'm just going to take it on a Wayne Goss 13 brush. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of product, and then what I like to do is take off the excess product on the back of my hand just to ensure that I am not applying too much product right from the brush to my cheeks, because then that can create hard to blend. It will just be a little bit harder to blend because if you've gone in with too much product, then it's going to be a little harder to work with. So I just like to really distribute that product into the bristles, get it really worked in there. Therefore, it will be less work for me to blend it onto the skin. And you can always pick up more product later on, but it's harder to take away product. So this is just super easy to blend anyways, but it's a very, very beautiful color. It gives you a hint of color, but it's nothing too overwhelming. This is incredibly easy to blend. This is more of an emollient type of blush. I feel like if you have super oily skin, you might not love this product. So therefore, if you have oily skin, I'd recommend the LYS or the Chanel. But I really enjoy this on my dry skin. And now I really want to pick up the, I think it's the Makeup by Mario Skin Enhancer. I've actually never tried that, but I've heard good things. I mean, I feel like that's the type of product you'll either love or hate because, again, it does have that more emollient texture. But as someone with dry skin and as someone who really likes that skin-like makeup look, I feel like I will really enjoy that product. So I'm just building up this color. I am applying this blush a little bit higher up on the cheeks for that more youthful look versus just applying it straight on the apples of the cheeks. I'm going up a little bit higher, and then I am blending it to the apples of the cheeks as well, just because I want that, again, really youthful pop of color. And then I am going over the edges with my Beauty Blender sponge, just because I want to make sure there are no harsh lines and I want all the edges to be nice and smooth. I just love that it's that sheer pigment. Like, you can still see your skin through that. So it does offer like a sheer coverage. It's not like a full coverage blush or anything like that. So I do think it gives you that very beautiful skin-like effect where it just looks like your cheeks are blushing versus like you've applied a product onto your cheeks. And I am going to move on to the lips. So again, there are a few different options you could use for the lips. I like a tinted lip balm because I just think it looks very natural and fresh. Or you could use something with a little bit more pigment, like the Merit Signature Lightweight Lipstick in the shade Baby. If you just wanted something with a little bit more coverage, I really love this NARS Afterglow Lip Balm in the shade Fastlane. I think it is beautiful. Or you could use something like the Chantecaille Lip Cheeks. The shade Patience and Bourbon Rose are some of my favorites, but I'm just going to take this NARS one because if I'm being authentic to what I wear on an everyday basis, it is this NARS one. Oh, and it just feels so good on the lips. I feel like most people would want to set down with a little bit of powder, especially now that we are in like the month of June. You might just want to set down with a little powder, even though I don't think you necessarily need to. I'm just going to show you the powders that I would use for this sort of look. So I, of course, would recommend the Peau Refining Press Powder. This is just a translucent powder, and I really love this, especially for a minimal makeup look, because it does not look like powder on the skin, but it does the best blurring effect. Like, your skin will look poreless and just so smooth with this powder. It is beautiful. It's not going to add any coverage or any texture on the skin though. It's just going to set down that makeup and blur your skin. So this would be fantastic. And then the other powder I would recommend is this Sisley Blur Expert Powder. I really like this because it is a baked powder and it is very hard pressed. So when you dip your brush into this powder, you're not going to see powder flying up or anything like that. And it offers a very sheer veil of powder over the skin. So it's not going to look heavy. This is a very skin-like powder. So that is another powder. If you are looking for something that maybe will add a little bit of a tint, I don't really think it will add coverage to the skin. Unless you go in with a very dense brush, like something like this, then it will maybe add just a very sheer tint of coverage. But if you go in with a fluffy brush like this Sonia G Face Pro brush, it's not going to add any coverage, but it will sit down the skin. And again, it will give you that really poreless, blurred effect. But it might add just a little bit of color because this is a tinted powder. So because I want that really skin-like appearance and I want something that's translucent, I don't want to add any color, I'm going to use this Peau Refining Press Powder. And I'm just going to take a bit of that, tap off that excess, and just press it over like the center of my skin where I'll maybe get a little bit shiny throughout the day. Now, if I was just going to the gym, I would honestly leave my makeup as it is here, or I wouldn't have even applied that powder. But if I am going to be out, maybe running errands, and I'm going to be going out for lunch or out and about and I will be seeing people, then maybe I'll go in with a little bit of mascara. So I will just amp up this look to show you how you can make it more any occasion appropriate. So if you were going out for lunch or dinner or anything like that, I'm first going to take this Hourglass Voyeur Waterproof Gel Eyeliner in the shade Cave. So this is just a deep brown shade. And I'm going to tight line my eyes. So just tight lining that upper waterline is going to make your eyelashes look a little bit thicker, but it's not going to be super noticeable eyeliner because you've applied it to your upper waterline. So it just makes your eyelashes look thicker and a little bit darker, but again, it's not going to add any sort of crazy impact, or it's not going to look like obvious makeup, especially because it is in this brown shade. And then I am going to go in with this YSL Lash Clash Mascara in the shade Brown. Usually I'd go in with a lash primer, but because I want that minimal makeup look and I don't want anything too crazy, I'm just going to take the mascara as it is And I'm going to focus it on the base of the lashes and just kind of wiggle it through the ends, but I'm not going to go crazy with mascara application today. And I'm only going to keep the mascara on the top lashes. I'm not going to apply it to the bottom lashes as well. I just think when you apply mascara just the top, it keeps your eyes looking very fresh and wide awake and open. So I don't like to apply, when I am doing a minimal makeup look, I don't like to apply it to the lower lashes, just because I feel like it can look a little bit too intense with this sort of look. Of course, if you are someone that really likes to wear bronzer, you could just add a bronzer, just add a bronzing powder over this at the very end. If you are someone that maybe prefers bronzer over blush, you could even replace the blush step with a bronzer, and then you would still be getting that minimal amount of product, but it would be more suited towards your preference. I know that some people do prefer bronzer over blush, so again, you can just kind of fit in any makeup product to replace the ones that I use. But this is just a makeup look that is appropriate for seriously any occasion. You could wear it out anywhere, and it's just going to look appropriate in any situation. You're never going to look overdone or underdone. It's just a perfect complement to really enhance your natural beauty, and those are my favorite types of makeup looks. As you guys know, I want to do more videos like this where I'm using more minimal products and doing more natural makeup looks, but I wanted to show you my favorite minimal makeup look for just the everyday person that you can use in any event. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Please let me know your favorite minimal makeup look products down below, because I love to hear from you and try out your suggestions. And I will see you in my next video.